Welcome back. Welcome back to the Gemini channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Gemini. Know that energy is fluid. Roles can be reversed. To always interpret the message as it best resonates. Also know on this channel, I like to dive deep within the reading. So I do look at everything, but we take time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, and see how they play out as karmic themes. This will allow you to see why everything's playing out the way that it is, why you're attracting, who you're attracting, how you're contributing to the imbalances in the situation. All right. Now, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, I need to like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out. It's the underlining energy that tells me why everyone's doing what they're doing. That's important when you're dealing with people that wear masks. Also, know if you forget the word of the video, it will always be in the description box below, along with all other important information. All right, we're going to jump right on in tonight. Or I should say this morning, because it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, let's see what the word of the video is. The word of the video is intolerance. Intolerance. Well, I feel like you're in separation from your person, and there's a part of you that really is on the fence, like really is choosing not to want to take this person back. And the reason why is because you got to a point where you're like, I've done a lot of healing on myself and I'm in a completely different place. And I'm just intolerant to what I used to be able to put up with. I only have so much time, energy, focus, and money. So I feel like Gemini, you are like, it's all about you pouring into yourself right now. And if people are not on your level, you're not keeping them in your life. And it's not a bad thing, but it's almost like you become unrecognizable to a lot of people, especially your person who I believe that they thought that you were always going to be there. They always thought that you were going to be there because, again, we see here is like a soulmate connection, right? They say that because you can see the sacred geometry, again, the wisdom, knowledge that's clear cognience when we say the wisdom, the knowing. Knowing is knowing without knowing why you know, and that's a spiritual language. So again, when you're connected to somebody, that there's a knowing, it's a soulmate, and so that you have a very strong bond with this person to the point that they can actually feel that you've gotten to a place where you're like, intolerant, and you're intolerant because they stayed away. They were stubborn for no apparent reason. It's like they couldn't deal with the criticism. They couldn't deal with the criticism that they didn't treat you right. They didn't like the fact that you called them out on their BS. This person's used to having attachment style relationships. So people that chase after them, people that try to convince them, people that pour in all their energy into them and they give very little. And like I said, you've reached your maximum point of being in relationships that are uneven. And this person is only used to being in relationships that are uneven. I feel like this person has a closed heart. So they breadcrumb, even though that there was a strong connection, this person is always looking for somebody else. Like the grass is always greener on the other side, and they're never satisfied. So that's the underlining energy. The underlining energy is you're intolerant to anybody that's going to try and make you have this type of relationship because attachment is codependent. And codependent, we know there's usually one person that gives emotionally a ton and the other person doesn't. It's a very uneven type of relationship. So when you were dealing with this person, yeah, like you felt like you would have to give up too much of your power. They wanted to like constrain you with their rules, very one-sided rules, what they thought that they should be allowed to get away with, and then what they thought you would. And you weren't even allowed to really have an opinion because the moment that you did have an opinion, this person got defensive, I feel like. So they would do things to like manipulate the situation because they obviously knew that they were not playing fairly. So they would strategize and scheme to have things, to keep you like on the hook because it's not like they wanted you to go and meet someone else. They just wanted you to pour more into them. And I feel like you never did that. Yeah, like so now this person's like it said they wanted you to be the victim, but ironically, what I'm feeling now is now this person's acting like the victim, like almost like I don't know, like why you're not talking to me, when really the person never took responsibility. They never took responsibility for the way that they treated you, the way that they expect that now they're expecting you to rescue them. Look, not taking responsibility, waiting to be rescued, and that's this person now. But they wanted you to need their help. They wanted you to like beg for their help. They wanted you to like need them. And it's like an attachment. This is what this person is used to. And that's the problem when you don't heal after a relationship and you go into a new relationship after a toxic relationship. What you think is normal is not normal. This person's used to not doing anything. They're used to having people run after them. Yeah, and then wanting you to be, again, dutiful to them. Like you said, it's all about, look at this, constrained, dutiful, victim. It's all keeping you in a low vibration where they're giving nothing to you, but it's almost like they're expecting you to cater to them. And I feel like the reason why is because in their past relationship, that's what they got. They got a very doting person that accepted very little, somebody that had a very low self-esteem. The irony is that this person wasn't satisfied with this person. It's like they need a person like that at home, and then they strayed. And I feel like you met this person when they were out straying. That's why they wanted you to be dutiful. That's why they wanted to constrain you because they didn't really want to let go of the karmic. Yeah, and then how they saw it is that you were like always overstating the situation, like talking about it a lot. So I feel like this person stonewalled you when really it was the excess behavior that never stopped. It's like the more that you would talk to them about it, the more that it seemed like they would do it to try to get underneath your skin, to trigger you. This person played a lot of mind games because, again, they give very little. So they don't really build up an emotional connection. You have to give time in order to build up an emotional connection. And so what they're used of is again people pouring into them, chasing after them, trying to convince them. So they have a really big ego. You weren't doing that. If anything, you were trying to lay down boundaries. This person saw it as like, oh, you don't stop. Like you're always trying to control the relationship. You're always trying to control me. You weren't trying to do that at all. This person is used to people that do that because they play games. So this person projected a lot of their toxic behavior and being connected to toxic people because the only person that's going to deal with a one-sided relationship is somebody that doesn't know their worth. And unfortunately, people that don't know their worth don't feel that they're deserving of love, but they're afraid of not receiving it. So they're very manipulative. Oh, on the outside, they act very friendly and nice and docile, like they'll go along with anything. But behind the scenes, they're manipulating, they're scheming. And that's what this person is used to because no one wants to be in a relationship with someone that doesn't give anything. And if a person is in a relationship with someone that's not giving anything, they're getting something, meaning money. They're getting something, like status, whatever it is, it's something that is giving, the person some sort of security that they can't maintain themselves. You don't have that problem. You know how to maintain yourself. This person's not used to dealing with people on a high vibration. They're just not. Yeah, it's like you had enough of their abuse. You were like, it's actually abusive, like that you try to get underneath my skin. It's actually abusive that you breadcrumb me and that you try to gaslight me. And I feel like they triggered you because you've had that experience before, whether it was with a family member, a parent, an ex, people that try to keep you in a low vibration. Like I said, you've done your healing, so you've gotten to a place where you're just intolerant to the abuse. And people will act as if you're overreacting. And that's what this person I feel like tried to do. I tried to act like you were overreacting, making a big deal over nothing, wanted to be able to treat you the way that they wanted to treat you, which obviously was that they were more superior and you were beneath them, so that you would chase, try to convince, try to manipulate, so that they actually feel really desired when people do that, which means that this person's in a very low vibration. They have a poor self-esteem. Yeah, like it's like you had a hard time of letting go of the past, Gemini, and the fears associated with it, and they seem to continue to manifest within bad relationships. And this is just one more bad relationship where this person that you were connected to also has been in very toxic relationships. Again, why we just said, because if you're only breadcrumbing and you're never really giving, it becomes a very one-sided relationship that becomes very toxic. It becomes like damaging because the person isn't emotionally showing up. They don't care. They want you to give them. This is how they are with everyone. So again, the relationships always turn south, and they turn south because they get tricked, and they get tricked by the docile behavior, the polite behavior, you know, people not calling them out on their behavior, and then, thinking that they can get away with anything. And then what happens is that then they get stabbed in the back, and they don't understand why they get stabbed in the back. And it's because they don't value the connection. They don't value other people. They use people like as an extension of themselves, and very much like a narcissist. Like, what can I utilize you for? And they're not strong on their own. So the chaos in the relationship is they create it, but the chaos in the relationship, you feel like you keep reliving that in relationships. And like I said, this was just another person. Yeah, you had enough. So it was like it said that they were actually trying to keep you in this very low vibration. And that low vibration is one that you lived in. And you've lived in many past lives. And I feel like past life is like when you were growing up at home with your parents, and then adolescence, and then junior high school, and then, college. I'm talking about each phase of life. You've dealt with this, and you've finally gotten to a place where, like I said, you've done a lot of healing, you've changed, so you're very unrecognizable to people. Now, this person, they perceived you as this energy, even though you weren't this energy. You never said anything or did anything to make this person think that you were of a low vibration. It's the fact that they are used of getting what they want. They're used of having someone cater to them, be there for them, fix them, give their resources, time, energy, and give very little back. Now, it doesn't mean that they're not in a relationship, but the relationship is, I get to do whatever I want and you don't. You can do what I tell you to do. And if you don't like it, well, that's tough. And they're used to people that don't know how to make a living on their own, or take care of themselves on their own, or can just be alone. So it's like you said, that people become reliant on what this person has. You're not reliant on what this person has. So it's almost like they don't know how to deal with you. Now let's see, these are soul cards. Let's see what what's going on in the situation with, on a deeper level. Because it's like this is a lot of games here. Somebody trying to keep you in a low vibration and be in a one-sided relationship. You see it, you don't put up with it. Now, like I said, what's happening? I always felt like I had a higher calling in life, and our connection brings me more clarity on it. So again, it's like whatever you're doing is making this person like feel like you're different, and you're different because you can stand on your own 2 feet. You're like creating, and like you're not chasing this person. You're not giving anything to this person. So I feel like it's triggering their abandonment, number one. So it's almost like now they have to almost have you, but then there's also this element where again you're creating something, you're in your power right now. And it's making this person like really want to be with you because it's like you're going to have purpose, and so you're going to be leaving them behind, number one. So like that, they were never intended for that to happen. It just intended to keep you on the hook. But it's also like I feel like this person, because they form attachments, they're very codependent. And when a person is codependent, it's because they don't know who they are. And when we don't know who we are, it's because we don't know what our purpose is. We have no purpose. It doesn't mean that this person doesn't have a job. It means they have a job, but it's not fulfilling to their soul. It's like they're going, every day is Groundhog's Day. There's no real passion. Passion for life is that this person lives from a lower vibrational energy, and that lower vibration is, you know, um, connected to the physical lust, everything of the physical realm. So they're very focused on money. They're very focused on the physical, meaning like I want to say like sex, like they more pay attention to the physical aspects instead of the emotional aspects of a relationship. So they again live mainly from their ego, and in that, after a while, you feel empty because, again, those things don't fill. If anything, this person has excessive behavior when it comes to trying to fill themselves, trying to fill themselves with things that are outside of them. And that's what happens when we don't have purpose, when we don't get up out of bed every morning and feel like we have meaning for life, any meaning for life. And so you have meaning for life. This person sees whatever you're doing, you're creating a lot of energy. So people are taking notice, and they notice, and they see that you're on a mission. And in that, it's making them feel like maybe you're going to leave them behind, that for like they're not going to get a second chance with you, where before they never really cared if a person like wasn't with them. I feel like it's very surprising to this person that they actually have feelings for you, because they didn't intend on having feelings for you. And I feel like also they used to get caught up in the money. Like if someone drove a nice car and dressed a certain way, like they got very caught up in people's possessions. And the truth of the matter is like that's not who you are. You throw yourself into like meaning. And so they've never met anyone quite like you. You're not their type, if anything. My heart is opening to love and guiding me back to you. And that's what I said. I feel like they see you as different. Now, that doesn't mean that you'll be with them. I just feel like, again, you triggered abandonment also within this person. And they also like to feel as if they're superior. So the flip side to this is also it bothers them that you walked away from them. Again, they're used to people pouring into them. That is what feeds this person's ego. And this person thinks that their ego is their identity. The ego is not your identity. The facade of what you create is not your identity. But the thing is that you walked away because you're like, I don't have time for this. Like, I've done my healing work. I know what this looks like. I love me more than I love you. So, like I said, this person isn't used to that. So it's again, you're making them live a different reality. And when you make a person live a different reality and they're in balance like this, they get a lot of different emotions. So I feel like sometimes you can tap into this person and you feel like they're angry, and they are angry because it's like you're humbling them. People don't volunteer to do healing. It's that the universe conspires to bring us people, situations, and experiences that change our mind and our heart. Because the universe is God. And that's the energy that's inside of us, that when we're perfect, in our perfect state, and our perfect state is one of unconditional love, that's the highest vibration. That's, again, the energy of the universe. So again, this person's normally in their ego. They're not in a spiritual energy. But the universe will always bring us what we need. Clear the illusions of the 3D world. Don't take everything at face value. There's a lot going on spiritually and energetically, more than what you can see. And so, what that is it's like this person is changing on the inside. It's not a voluntary thing. It just winds up kind of happening. And it happens when we've gotten to a place within life that we get tired. Life isn't working. We're not getting good results. That's what's happening. This person isn't in a good place because they've been living by their ego. And so when we do that, it may be good for a certain amount of time, but unfortunately, life looks like a roller coaster because we're not in alignment with our true self. Our true self is our higher self, and the higher self is the God part of self. That when we're co-creating, we're in the flow of the universe. This person tends to strategize and scheme and plan. Again, everything was ego. So they grew up in more of a survival perspective, and they, like I said, tend to look at people as extensions of themselves, like what they can use them for. And so, of course, that you're doing something and creating an attention, making something happen for yourself. This is also like giving this person like mixed feelings because it's bringing up a lot of stuff for them to look at about themselves, not to mention how they treated you, not to mention that they're not all that. I want to know everything about you, but I hold myself back from asking. I'm afraid I'll get in too deep. So they're not emotionally intelligent. It's again because they're used of and not getting in deep so that they don't get hurt. So they're changing. I need to move slowly with this, but trust me that I'm moving even when it seems that I'm not. So, like I said, there are things going on spiritually and energetically that's actually changing this person. So, in their mind, they feel as if they're going to come back. That even though they treated you the way that they did, but I feel like it's because you're making things happen. You walked away from this person. So again, you kind of making this person surrender their ego, whether they want to or not, because unconditional love does that. Love does that. So let's look and see. Um, I want to see which deck I want to take. We'll take a little bit of healing and we'll take a little bit of empowerment. These are new decks. So I'm like, I'd like to play around with them. They literally just came today. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, like again, this person blames a lot on their parents. Again, that they didn't like they inherited a lot of family karma. And I feel like they were brought up in a very, very, very toxic, codependent trauma bond type of connection. So this is what they're used to. And they've also made uh, a judgment call at a very young age. They watch one parent be the victim, one person always be emotional, one person always never getting their needs met, always doing everything by themselves, always never having enough. And then the other parent just doing whatever the hell that they want to do, coming in and out. Again, that very one-sided. And at a very young age, your person said to themselves, I'm not going to be like that person that suffered. It's again, did they do it consciously? Probably not. It's again, but it was a trauma. And the trauma is that when we go through something in our childhood and we're not we don't even know that we're still affected by it. But the trauma that your person witnessed, so what they did is they overcompensate. See, they still feel a lack because they didn't get the love and nurturing that they needed from their parents when they were growing up. However, it's like now what they do is they overcompensate, to make sure that their needs are met, to make sure that they're not just going to wind up in a bad situation. Well, like this fear of death. So it's like they're afraid that this connection is going to end. They also feel like they are like also afraid of death. And I say that because they know that they're vibing at a low vibration. They know that. And I feel like it's because of you. This is a very spiritual connection. Things are happening for this person that they have no control over. This person's a control freak. It's again, they were never spiritual. They're again, so this is very foreign energy for this person. But the fear of death is this person knows that they're not really a good person. They don't think that they're a good person. And they might not even be as bad as they think. But it's like because they think that they're a bad person, there is a fear of death. So there is also a sense of a little bit of wanting redemption. So I'm almost feeling like this person got sick. When we're at a low vibration too, and we're holding on to a lot of spiritual blocks, unless those blocks are integrated and transmuted, well, then we are just a magnet for more bad types of situations. And the irony is that this person doesn't want to be in an attachment connection, but because the focus is on, being in control, that's what they form. So they're like, I'm almost like bonded to that trauma, and they're doing it unconsciously. It's like when we focus on what we don't want, we can manifest it. This person's going into the relationship saying, I don't want to be the one that's victimized. I don't want to be the one that gets hurt. I'm the one that's going to to make sure that I don't get hurt. So I'm going to give very little, and I'm going to go towards the people that are very loving, very giving, very generous, the people who I think are going to give to me so that I don't get hurt. The problem is the focus is on getting hurt, whether they realize it or not. And that's what keeps happening. But this time you were like, you're not going to play your game with me. I'm going to detach from you. So they still got hurt, and this is what they're starting to see. That's why they think that they're a bad person, because everybody winds up being like, I'm not tolerating this. Everyone winds up not liking this person. But the truth is, this person doesn't really like themselves. And that's the problem. But they're realizing a lot because there is also a fear of death, like they're looking at how they've been living their life. Yeah, and they've been living their life for more of a fear-based consciousness, and that's a survival mode. And when we live in survival mode, we're not thinking about anybody else. We can't. So this person is still walking around with the trauma from their childhood. It's you know, just repeated over and over. Like it's a karmic loop. It's like karmic cycles where the person dates a person, the relationship starts off what seems like okay, even though this person doesn't give anything. I just guess in the beginning of the relationship, people don't care because they're so busy, trying to get your person to love them, to give to them, that they don't mind doing it. They don't realize that they lose themselves in doing it. And then your person disposes of them because when you don't give to a relationship, you don't build an emotional connection. When you don't build an emotional connection, you don't care how you treat people. And so, like I said, this person like is stuck in this karmic loop. Yeah, and so like you standing up to yourself for yourself is very intimidating to this person because again, they're not coming from their true self. There's they're fragmented. They don't feel good about themselves. So of course you're going to be intimidating to them and that triggers them because if anything, they want to be seen as intimidating. They feel weak. Again, person that's coming from fear, they feel scared all the time. They don't trust themselves. They're always waiting for the shoe to drop. They don't realize that they're the person that's creating their reality. Fear of change. And so again, this, even though it doesn't feel good to live in this dynamic, they stay stuck in this dynamic. And that's the problem. It's because they're comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's because it would require them to step up their game in order to not attract those type of people, not want to be in those type of relationships. They don't know how they would do it because what they see is they don't really have relationships for a long time. They're here for a good time, not a long time. Not that they want it that way. Down deep inside, that's what they feel they can only have to be safe. So there's a real fear of change. So when a person's comfortable being uncomfortable, that's a bad thing. Yeah, look at this. Put your hand on your heart and ask, what do I know about the situation? It's again, this person is like, they're asking them some pretty tough questions right now, which to them, that they've never reflected, they've never done shadow work. Like I said, they've brought in their baggage from connection to connection to connection to connection to connection. So it's pushing them to say, what do I want? What do I know about the situation? And what they know about the situation is that you didn't deserve to be treated the way that you would be treated, and that they're not happy in their life. And they see purpose in your life. And the problem with that is, it's again, this person is only used to attachments. So it's very codependent. And now their energy has changed, their energy has changed. There's no more games. It's not like that, but they're but they still don't have a purpose. They don't know who they are. They don't know, which means they would still be codependent, just the opposite. They'd be more clingy. And I feel like that's what happens to this person. They get into karmic cycles and loops where the relationship starts off okay, because like I said, the person that they're with is trying to like win this person over, trying to like get emotionally something from your person, and they don't give anything. I'm not saying that they don't have sex. They have that physical connection, but no emotional connection. And so the partner feels depleted, feels like, it's a one-sided relationship, and then it turns very toxic. And so when you're with a lower hanging fruit, the people that are lower hanging fruit, they don't know their worth. So they again are going to come into the connection and try to make the connection into what they feel it could be based on the sexual chemistry. And sexual chemistry is based on lust a lot of times. You know what I mean? It's like, and if there's no emotional connection, well, then it fades because what happens is that the physical connection is almost like abused in the beginning of the relationship. It's like almost like having the same meal 100 times a day every single day for like a month. After a while, you'd be like, I can't even look at that food. And that's what happens with your person. So they actually feel like they can't be in a relationship because they lose the intimate type of connection when really it's because you abuse the connection. It's because you're again only you're compartmentalizing. You're not giving this person the emotional time. So the relationship doesn't grow, it doesn't blossom, it doesn't bloom into anything. It stays stagnant. And then it ruins the sexual chemistry. And then when that happens, the person that has poured into them and has given to them is like, well, you're not even giving me that anymore. Like, where at least before we would have good sex, we don't even have that. It's like, and it's like, no, because your person's like, I don't even want to be with you because, I had it and there's nothing else here except for that. Because again, like there's a sense where you walked away and you're like, I need to get rejuvenated. But I really feel like this person, like your energy rejuvenates them in a way when you detach from them. And the reason why is not because they don't have feelings. If anything, they have more feelings that you walked away. They're actually paying attention. But the rejuvenation is actually like that, like a renewed sense of like there could be love because I've actually had feelings for you for a really long time and we actually haven't had any type of sex. We haven't had any type of physical intimacy. You wouldn't do it. You walked away from me. You didn't pour into me. You didn't try and convince me. You didn't try and manipulate me. You chose yourself. And not only did you choose yourself, but you're creating something like you have a mission. So you're so much different from everybody else that I've ever dealt with that it's inspiring. It's like I said, rejuvenating this person, making them have like a renewed sense of what love could actually be, that there actually could be love. This person could actually have a relationship that they're not going to get bored in, that it's not just going to turn toxic. Yeah, they see you through music. They hear you through music. I feel like they listen to music and they think about you. They hear the signs and the symbols. It's almost like they don't know it, but spirit speaks to us through everything and everyone. And especially if it's a spiritual connection, well, it's again, spirit will use everything to get the message to this person. And I feel spirit has to do that because this person doesn't tap into their intuition a lot. It's like they don't trust their intuition because their intuition is connected to their emotions and they don't want to emotionally make a decision. They don't like to base decisions on emotions. They only base them on logic. Problem is, in a relationship, it's not supposed to be built on logic. It's supposed to be built on emotions and love. But this just goes to show you, even a broken person or a person that again has a lot of trauma from childhood, they recognize the difference. It doesn't matter because there's a knowing, and that knowing is that claircognizance, which only a soulmate can bring. Again, look at speaking. So that I see like music and speaking, this person has a hard time speaking. I feel like you are a very good speaker. I feel like there's a lot of spiritual energy that you hold and that you have a lot of feminine energy, even if you're a guy, like you're good with speaking. And when I say that, articulating, sharing your emotions, this person isn't, and I feel like it's again because they grew up in an environment that wasn't, um, didn't allow them to speak. freely. And the reason why is because if parent is not getting their needs met and they're in a one-sided relationship with someone that's toxic, well, you know, they would first of all either not want to burden the parent, the one parent, because the other parent doesn't care. If they don't care about the mom that's coming in, or the person, the spouse, whoever they're supposed to be with, they don't they don't care. So the child feels, well, you don't care about us, never mind. And I don't want to put a burden on to, like I said, the parent, but also like I don't want to get hit. I don't want to get yelled at. I don't want to get twisted, like where my words. So that a lot of times happens when you're living in a very imbalanced environment and their parents are so stressed out because they're in a toxic connection. Well, what winds up happening is that there's a lot of projection onto the child. So whatever the child says, now it's like it's your fault. It's your, like, again, it becomes very distorted where this person doesn't feel good about themselves and they never felt good about themselves. And it comes from, again, the environment that they grew up in. So again, this connection is bringing them a lot of healing because it's making them reflect, it's making them grow. It's because there is a lot of love. It's making them open up their heart chakra. Now, that doesn't mean that you need to be with them. The universe doesn't care whether you're with them or not. The universe cares whether this person heals. So it's going to bring them people and situations to help them do so. So whether you choose to walk away, this person still learned the lesson and it will hurt when you walk away because they actually have feelings and that would just be their karma. Or if you choose to be with them, it's again, they have an opportunity to do things differently. But either way, it's again helping to make the energy flow. This person, like I said, had a closed heart chakra. What we see here, right? Well, heart chakra. It's making them do the healing. Yeah, because it's again that they, you know, because they realize it's again like that they played mind games, but also like that they don't want to be in a suffocated type of relationship. When they're with like a karmic, which is that's what I'm going to call them, even though they weren't with anybody in this situation, but that's what they're used to. Well, then they're used to being suffocated. They're used of, the relationship being all about mind games. And that's what this person like had projected onto you. And they actually acted as if you were doing it because you were setting boundaries, like almost like it was a game where, oh, you want me to chase you? Okay, I'm not going to chase you. Where you're like, I don't want you to chase me. I'm not just not going to put up with this crap. So they thought that it was a game, your silence. That's what they thought. Now, what they see is it's like changing the narrative, right? Because your silence is actually changing the narrative because you're like, I'm not running after you. I don't need you. Like my life, I'm creating my life, and this is what this person is seeing. They're actually seeing that they're the ones that projected, which is the change of narrative, which it's like not, it's not what you saw. And so there's a sense of they need to surrender. They need to surrender for the greater good because they feel as if their purpose is with you. And I say that because, again, purpose driven dogma, right? And they need to let go of all the crap, all the games, and just give up and release control. Surrender to unconditional love for the greater good for themselves. Really, that's what this connection is about, regardless of whether you're going to be with them or not. I do feel like that they could help you, in whatever you're creating, but it's your choice. And they would need to like not just come into your life to help you with whatever you're doing. They would actually have to build an emotional connection. They would actually have to put the work in. Um, yeah, like there's a sense like that, either they're gonna do it or the relationship is ended. It's going to be the end of a cycle. Like that this situation has gone on as long as it can go on. So I do feel like this person, again, like you said, they said they're coming towards you. It may not seem like they are, but things are happening spiritually. They're changing on the inside. So understand, like they know that if they don't fix this, like the feelings need to be, relieved at this point, that you need to again be like, they need to come clean. They need to tell you how they feel. Um, they need to kind of resurrect this relationship and put in the effort. Otherwise, this is it. That's it. It's the end if they don't do it. So they are coming towards you. It's just I feel like they're nervous and they want to make sure that they're going to do it the right way. And they don't really even know what that looks like. And they can't really even understand why they're doing it because this is not in their nature at all to do it. So I say it's because it's a very spiritual connection. So we have to say again how you felt like the whole time you were triggered. Are you going to take this person back? Let's see. I mean, I feel like for some of you, yes, and some of you, no. I mean, but because it's a collective reading, but maybe we can get some insight. Sometimes we can't. And some because it's again, you can't make a decision on the fact that this person hasn't put in any effort. You may have feelings, but you're like, they haven't done anything, so I don't know if they've changed or not. No, I feel like you still think about this person. I do, because it's like you are the first person on my mind when I wake up in the morning. So there is a soul connection, a spiritual connection. And then there would have to be, like I said, this whole connection. It can't just be a spiritual connection on one side. It doesn't work that way, especially when there's ESP and there's this claircognizance and there's this inner knowing where this person knows that they're supposed to be with you. They know that, and I feel like they've always known it, you know. I feel like you do dream of them, but they do make you nervous because you're like, I don't really know if I can trust them. So it's again like I feel like you you're going to take this person back because there really is unconditional love, but you're going to take it really slow, like really slow. You're going to make this person work for it. I'm sending you loving energy. Can you feel it? So it's again there, you do hold a special place in your heart for this person. Um, and listen, if it's not you, then this isn't your story or that's not your outcome. It's a collective reading. Some of you will, some of you won't, but let me tell you, if it is a soul connection to the point that is making this person change to the point that they want to, well, you're not making them, they're actually doing it. It's a spiritual connection, and you really would have strong feelings. You wouldn't be able to control it, even though you'd be like, no, I'm pissed off, I don't want to. The whole point is the fact that it's all about cleansing, right? Cleansing your wounds, because you have to say, well, why did you attract this person into your life at this point? Because you're like, well, why the fuck did all that happen? Well, it happened to help you cleanse you, to help clear you of whatever spiritual issues that you had, because you're a mirror from what comes into your life. So the same way that this person was not realizing that they were making a lot of their choices based on relationships based on their childhood, watching that parent like suffer and them saying, I don't want to be that person, so I'm going to take the more dominant role. I'm the one that's not going to get hurt. I'm going to give very little and I'm going to make sure that I don't get hurt, is the same as unconsciously You have wounds which attracted this person. This is why, again, would have to cleanse the energy. And that's again being overwhelmed as a child. Number one, I pull six in our child cards. Two is self-sabotage. That's when we grow up in shame, when we feel that we're bad, when we feel that we're not good enough, which, by the way, that's what this person tends to do. They self-sabotage themselves because they go into a relationship and barely give anything, and they're focused on the relationship not working and them not getting hurt. And that's why they always get hurt, so they self-sabotage the connection with you, but they self-sabotage the connection with everybody eventually, which is what makes this person not like themselves and understand. I feel like you were the giver. You were the giver because, listen, you grow up in an environment that's overwhelming. As a child, you don't feel safe. And if you don't feel safe, well, you're going to do anything to try to fix the environment. So you might be like the healer of the family, like the healer, the fixer. So all your energy would be to like would become very codependent because again, you were taught in an environment to try to fix it. And where what it's really about is about you nurturing yourself, giving yourself the love because you didn't get the nurturing, because you wouldn't get the nurturing if you were told that you were bad and it was very overwhelming. It was very overwhelming because of whatever your family was going through, but also how they were making you feel. And so, they made you feel confused. They didn't make you feel loved and supported. What makes us feel loved and supported is when a parent nurtures us, right? That they don't overwhelm us. When we're overwhelmed, we're fearful. And when we're fearful, because we grow up in an environment with a parent that should be expressing love, but instead they're like making us feel bad about ourselves. Well, then, then have to learn how to nurture ourselves, to give ourselves the love. We need to learn how to reparent ourselves because otherwise, then we think that we're bad. And when we think that we're bad, unconsciously, we again start to live from that level of consciousness and where we're only thinking about ourselves, or where we're only thinking like from this lower consciousness, which if you would have went along with this person, which is what they expected you to do, you would have actually been stuck in a trauma bond the way that they had set it up because you grew up in an environment that you were the giver. Like you didn't get your needs met, but you again were expected to be the fixer, to be the healer, to sacrifice in order to make the family be okay. And that comes when you grow up in an alcoholic family, you grow up in a codependent family, that there's imbalances, that one parent isn't showing up, but the other parent is doing everything. And the parent that's doing everything is stressed out, they're not happy, they're angry. It's again, you would see yourself as bad, even though you're not bad or a problem. The parent is just stressed out because of what they're going through. They're not in a love type relationship. Over time, it winds up being like a love-hate relationship. Lies and secrecy. Again, having to hide behind the lies of the home. Again, when there's alcoholism, when there's a severe codependency, like a trauma bond, that the parents are so toxic, you're not advertising that. It's the family's dirty little secret. And in order to keep that secret, everyone has to, compensate for the one parent that's not showing up and for the other parent that's so emotionally overwhelmed that they can't deal with it. So again, the lies and the secrecy. I'm going to pull one more, which is vulnerability. Having to learn vulnerability. You weren't allowed to be vulnerable. You were the fixer. You were expected to be the parent at a young age. And, so here we are back in the same dynamic. That's what this person was like gearing you for. but you recognized it because you're like, no, I grew up in that environment. I did a lot of healing. I'm actually very intolerant to people taking advantage of me now, which is why this person feels like, you know, they're insecure. You're intimidating them now because you're like, no, I'm standing up for myself. I don't know why you expected that of me. So what they're seeing is I misjudged you. And even though I don't like the fact that you're standing up to me because it's triggering to me. It's like I trust you and I see you like no other, and I do want to be with you. So it's again, I feel like you're making this person rise. Now, whether you're with them or not, it wouldn't matter because, either way, the spiritual lessons learned. Because if you leave and you actually don't want to be with this person, well, you'll be the one that got away that they will never be able to get out of their mind because you've changed them. You changed the internal dialogue. You changed the way that they see relationships. You changed the way that they perceive that a relationship can actually be, that it could be actually be successful. So we're going to just pull one more card, and that's a card from Spirit to say, is there anything else that we should know? Or anything else that we should know at this point? And Spirit says, choice. It's your choice. I choose serenity, light, and positive energy no matter what I go through. I choose happiness. I rise above fear and direct my thoughts towards God's. So, what Spirit is saying, it's your choice to be with this person. Some of you are going to say yes, some of you are going to say no, but it's all about whatever you do. Choose yourself, choose serenity, choose to be in positive energy because if you're with somebody that you care about, but they're not on the same vibration, but you do have love, understand that's a choice that you want to be with this person, but it's like the choice needs to be that you're in the highest vibration for yourself, not for this person. So you wouldn't be like, you couldn't be with this person and let their mood affect you. You wouldn't be able to like be with someone that continually like made you angry because then you're going to see those effects manifest negatively within your life. And that's why Spirit's saying choose wisely, but choose serenity, light, positive energy, no matter what you go through. Like it doesn't matter the person that you're with. You might say, well, I don't trust this person. Spirit says it doesn't matter about them. It's about what you choose to do. It's about how you choose to react. Are you going to react by becoming subservient? Or are you going to still choose you? Well, you just chose you and you see the results. So you will have to continue to choose you because when this person was doing all that shit and you became intolerant to it, you chose yourself and you chose to be in an energy of unconditional love by doing what you love. And that's why things are happening for you right now. So that's why Spirit's saying it's a choice. You have to choose wisely. I'm going to leave that there, Gemini. You let me know how you resonated with this one, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.